Did you stop it?
No, you're on.
Hello and welcome to the House Geeks Real Estate Show on AM 950, sponsored by Bricks Real Estate, iLoan, Network Title, and Country Financial. Today's show will be on consumer seller housing trends as information reported by Zillow Group for their 2018 report. One quick announcement, we will be doing a home buyer class specific to the current market that we're in on October 16th at the North St. Paul VFW at 6:30 p.m. Hope to see you there.
I have tickets to a Wild game that night. You want to just teach the class?
We'll have to do maybe a giveaway. We should.
No, that's exactly why I brought it up. We are doing a giveaway, funny photo. If you follow our Facebook page, we do the Funny Photo Friday, and so we're giving away a pair of tickets for those who may want to go to the Wild game instead of the class. If you enter in a photo around your house of just, if you look at our funny photos, you kind of get some ideas of what we're looking for, and the winner that gets the most likes will win those tickets. So, yeah.
I was wondering why you were so generous as to give up a pair of your season tickets for a night, but now it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's not usually something you take lightly.
Let's just say we set the class dates before I knew which tickets I had.
Awesome. And if you're a buyer out there, our last week's show came at the same topic from the buyer's perspective. And if you're a seller, it might be interesting to look at last week's show as well, because if you're selling, you are going to need a buyer. So knowing how they think and act is good information.
I concur, most definitely.
Mm-hmm. Or if you just want to geek out on real estate like we do.
Yes.
You're
ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Welcome to the House Geeks Real Estate Show. Maybe I should start off.
Sure.
Try this one more
On
time.
AM 950, sponsored by.
Please hang up and try again. We will do.
Or no, it wasn't that noise. There was an annoying noise that happened after it said, please hang up and try again.
Yeah, it was a That's what it was.
Oh, that's right. Can't help but think of Dumb and Dumber when I hear you do that noise.
The most annoying noise in the world.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I gotta let that count down for a second.
Okay.
Just haven't gotten used to reading the sponsors right away. All right, here we go. Welcome to the House Geeks Real Estate Show, sponsored by Bricks Real Estate, Network Title, iLoan Home Mortgage, and James Tilson with Country Financial. I'm Kirk Duckwall. Joining me is Chad Vandelot, and we are the House Geeks. Check us out online at housegeeks.com. Follow us on our Facebook page, where you can watch us record live most Tuesdays and see all the mistakes that we make. Or you can just give us a call if you have any questions. That number is 612-207-5388. Again, 612-207-5388. Today's topic. Last week we covered the home buyer trends. So this week, home seller trends. Yeah, so I want to kind of get in and talk a little bit about some of the similarities, some interesting things that I found in the stats that came out. And once again, these are national stats, and some of the stuff that we're going to break down, we may not see those same trends locally, and we're going to discuss that a little bit as well. But understanding, the sacrifices that one may need to make and what are the most important things to get out of this process, I think is really important to understand as you approach this point, because it is, probably the biggest financial transaction that you're making since you bought the house, hopefully.
Well, there is a statistic to prove that, and actually, Zillow is reporting that home equity remains the biggest financial asset for the typical homeowner, who has 52% of their wealth tied up into their home.
Yeah, which is, that's a good stat. I think, one of the things that you brought up, and stop me if I'm jumping on this early, but you had mentioned, makes you feel a lot more comfortable about the likelihood of any sort of bubble. I mean, that's a huge equity.
Yeah, with the relatively recent bubble in people's rearview mirrors, we get that question all the time. Is this another bubble? Well, honestly, we don't know. And if we did know, we'd probably sell information instead of homes because that would be a lot easier.
Actually, I do, Chad, and for 1995.
But here's a great stat that really surprised me. Of all of the mortgages out there, the typical homeowner has about 40% equity in their home, meaning prices would need to drop about 40% before homes would be underwater. So there's a lot of equity in the average home, which would prevent the foreclosures like we saw back in 2011. Now, what makes that stat even more comforting is there's a relatively significant number of homes out there that are free and clear. And this particular stat takes all the free and clear homes out of the equation, and it's just considering mortgaged properties.
Well, I think something like 10% of homes are cash purchases. At least that's the last I heard. I don't know if you have data on that.
No, but that's the last number I heard as well.
Yeah. Here's one that I found interesting. We talked last week about millennials being the biggest sector of buyers out there. They are now the biggest sector of sellers.
Really surprised me as well.
I thought we would see the Gen X be a little bit higher. So it's 31% is millennials, 28% Gen X, and 25% baby boomers. I mean, all relatively close, honestly. But yeah, they are the biggest sector out there. Sellers, 53% of them are first-time home sellers, and 24% have sold a home previously, and then 23% have sold multiple homes previously.
And of those people, 61% of them are trying to buy a new home and sell their outgoing property or existing home at the same time, which offers a little bit more hoops to jump through, a little more inconveniences. But keep that stat in mind that the majority, this is not a unique thing, the majority of people out there are experiencing the same thing that you are.
It's an interesting point. Let's kind of maybe dive into that a little bit more. This is one of the biggest challenges, according to the data that we have, that selling, it's trying to buy a place while trying to sell a place. And we get the question all the time, how do I handle this? And honestly, it depends. It depends on, comfort levels, timelines, expectations. Everybody's situation plays into it differently. Some people just don't have the option to do anything but a contingent offer.
And those contingent offers are creeping back into the market a bit, and not just at the $1 million price range. A couple weeks ago, I got my first contingent offer accepted under the $500,000 mark in 4 years. And the market is shifting a bit.
Well, I mean, we brought it up in the Market Minute that we recorded right before the show here, which is the number of showings per listing is dropping. It's actually over last year, the number of showings is down 21%.
Wow.
So you're going to see those contingent offers become a much bigger player back into the marketplace if we are having a slower time out there.
Yeah, if those numbers continue, we don't know yet if it's just a little dip or if this is a trend.
3 months going on 4.
Okay.
So, but we're keeping our eye on it, always listen to that Market Minute, and you'll hear the updates on what we're pulling for stats. It's also the first time that we noticed pending sales finally caught up with that slowing number of showings, where pending sales is now down 6% over last year as well. So
But
yeah, I mean, there's many different ways to handle that challenge. So you have, somebody can make a contingent offer. I've seen ones where it's making, and this was a little while ago, but it was making the sale contingent on the seller finding something,
mhm,
which,
which
sometimes,
we saw more and more in that market where there was really low inventory with very high buyer activity.
correct. Yeah. And then we're also starting to see some lender options with some of the more local banks and bigger banks partnering with the local banks to do things like swing loans or bridge loans again. I mean, you talked about that people have 50-some% equity in their homes, a lot of them. It's a way to utilize
62% equity. Or no, excuse me. About 40% equity.
Right. So it's an opportunity to take some of that equity, no matter what the number is, and move it towards the new purchase, allowing, and I'm seeing like the whole idea, I think, of the swing loan is to prevent that debt to income ratio issue that you can run into potentially with bridge loans. So that you're seeing interesting ways to be able to handle this hurdle. And it just kind of comes down to what works for each person's scenario.
And interestingly enough, Zillow reports that the second biggest priority in home sellers is being to sell and buy their home within a specific time frame. Only second to maximizing profit. Big surprise there.
Yeah, it's stress and convenience. I mean, we talk about this with the instant offers thing that we're seeing out there, that people will sometimes take a lower sale price to know the security of having something, where it can be a decent option there.
And a little bit further down the list, this one really surprises me, but 12% of people say that having a good family buy their home is their biggest priority, over profit and over maximizing their timeline. But if we start seeing in the spring market these multiple offer situations, that's a good number to know, because we start writing these letters to the sellers about what a good family the
Stop
buyers
giving away
are.
your tricks.
Oh.
Real quick, I want to touch on this before we take a commercial break. It is a lot of people, they decide they want to sell a home, and they look at a market like we're in, and they go, oh, I can sell my home. I'm going to just do this myself. And you see the for sale by owners, and we're looking at some of the stats that Zillow has on this. 46% of people, which surprised me, it was only that, 46% of for sale by owners do it because they're looking to save money. Here's the one that I'm really intrigued by, which is the 33% are confident in their ability to sell without an agent or a broker.
Wow.
Well, my dog could sell a house, right? It doesn't take any skill really to sell the home, right?
In a market like we've seen in the last 3 years.
Contracts and paperwork, knowing the process, yes, that does take some skill. But here's the one that's missed that we're not seeing on here, is being able to sell the home for as much money as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, my computer screen turned off and I got worried. All right, thought our recording stopped, but we're here. All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we are going to get into some of the seller challenges and just some of the different trends, the difficulties that we're maybe seeing in the marketplace now, things like that. We'll be right back. Yeah, screen went black.
I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I gasped for air. I wonder if my reaction is what made you notice it. I know you know what my next line is. It is, if you bought a Mac, you wouldn't worry so much. They are expensive, but it's just like having insurance. It works when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
You do pay more out of pocket, but peace of mind does have a value.
All right.
And this segment sponsored by Mac.
And cheese. All right, you ready? Maybe I need to move the mouse around when I'm recording. All right, here we go.
You're a drummer. You could coordinate all the limbs like that to keep us afloat.
I am not a good drummer.
I know.
Welcome back to the House Geeks Real Estate Show on AM 950. Today, talking about 2018 seller trends. Kind of left off on the for sale by owner piece. Kind of surprised me that, one of the top things was somebody's interest or ability to just sell a home. When honestly, I think the key factor should always be, process, negotiation, and achieving the highest sale price that you can within your timelines. That's one that, even for some of the top challenges and concerns to just sellers, not even for sale by owners, I didn't see that in there. But yet it ultimately tends to be the case, right? They want to get the most for their home when they go to sell it.
I wonder what percentage of for sale by owners have their highest priority of having a good family moving to their home when they sell.
If I was going to go with the condition of the house when they put it on the market, I would say not high at all.
I was guessing about 1.5%, as opposed to 12%, which still blows me away.
So seller challenges, you brought this one up, Chad, which is one of the top of on the list that's out there is timing the sale with the purchase of a new home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is that important thing that you need to sit down with your agent right away and talk about timing, and then talk about timing, every piece of it. Like, how long do you want to be on the market? What is the overall plan? When are the better times versus the worst times to sell a home? We just did a video on that, and I'm excited to put that out on our page, which is, the times of year to avoid, the times of week to avoid, just little slip-ups that people make, which can all affect with how quickly a home may or may not sell.
These stats really correlate with timing as well. It says that more than 60% of homeowners say that their homes could use a little updating. So over half of the homes could use a little bit more updating. But only 28% of homeowners plan their improvements. The majority of calls I get are, I really like this house. I want to sell mine. What do I need to do right now? I'm thinking about adding a bedroom down in the basement in order to get more square feet. That's why we keep harping on, give us a call early on, 6 months out, plan your home improvements. It shows right here that over half of homes, people realize that they need improvements, but only 28% of homeowners plan their improvements. And if you get a hold of an agent early, we can help you minimize the amount that you spend and try and get it only to those that return a greater bang for the buck, and help you sell it faster to maintain your timeline, which is one of the most important concerns of sellers in this market.
We have a new video coming out, and it's What to Fix is what it's called.
Perfect.
Kind of addressing that early on, because we know there's a lot of people that don't want to talk to us right away, so now they can just watch the video.
It's great timing for that as we're approaching the winter markets and preparing for the spring market.
Number 4 challenge for sellers is selling the home within their desired price range. Once again, I think if you start early and you plan, you can get a proper expectation and to what it takes and what it's going to take to get a home to that price range if that's feasible.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And to manage expectations on that, ask your agent to pull some numbers. How long are homes staying on the market? What is the inventory like? What is it like in my neighborhood? And what is it like in my neighborhood for my home style?
Value of services provided by an agent. So these are some interesting stats that I love this one because I hate this one, and that's 89% of sellers find it valuable for their agent to find interested buyers. Now, if it's if that question is geared towards marketing to interested buyers and getting them in the door, great. If it's that agent actually has buyers, this is where it drives me nuts, right? Because a lot of agents will use this as a line. Oh, we have buyers looking in the neighborhood. Let me show you the list
Or
of my
even
buyers.
worse, there are buyers looking in your neighborhood.
Yeah. Well,
implying that they're their buyers.
Yes. There. Yeah. We have buyers out looking. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those where, I think the value of the agent should be what quality of marketing do they provide, and helping get the home within the appropriate price range, and then help with the negotiation and process. So some of the bottom things, which kind of threw me off, was least important, making home improvement recommendations. This is one of the things that helps fix the number 3 challenge on the other page. Hitting the desired price range.
Number 1 challenge and number 1 or 2 challenge of meeting your timelines.
And maybe it's the I want it and I want it now mentality that, it says selling in desired price range, number 2 as far as seller challenges, but then down on the very bottom, make the improvements, staging the home, hitting the appropriate price range. So they're not doing the things to help cure the challenge. It's kind of interesting, I thought. Resources determined to establish price, 70% utilize, well, this is actually kind of funny, 81% take advice to come up with the price range. That means that 19% of sellers out there aren't taking any advice whatsoever when they're pricing the home. If you're one of those, please do not call me. Okay, so advice from a real estate broker, 70%. The reason I thought this stat was interesting, originally I wasn't going to put it in there, but I wanted to hit on it because 18% want to get a professional appraisal. A appraisal is a tool to determine risk value, however you want to say it, to the bank. Why, if it really was value, then why is it that every time I get an appraisal, it's between list price, 500, maybe a few thousand over whatever that offer is, up until the point where maybe they go, oh, this is just too high, and then they say what they actually think it's worth.
The other interesting part about the appraisal is the actual appraisal is based off of historic data. And in times where the property values are rising at such a fast rate, historic data is historic. It's kind of outdated versus real-time data on what's happening now.
Well, the key is market value is what's important. You need to know the market value. Yes, appraisal value and understanding how it's going to be determined. And that's something I talk with, and we kind of run through that when I'm doing a market analysis. It is important to know, but to pay the $400 or $500 to have a professional appraisal is just an utter waste of your money. And a professional appraisal is going to be done. Don't worry about it. That's going to happen when a buyer makes an offer. The key is figuring out the market value there. Kind of going and digging in a little bit more in the last couple minutes on the improvements to make as you're preparing your home. We find that almost 80% of all sellers are going to do something. I'm finding a trend here, like 80% are going to do home improvements, 81% are willing to take advice. There seems to be this 20% sector that doesn't want to listen to anybody. Okay, so 81% do some sort of work. That basically breaks down to 29% of sellers are doing landscaping. Honestly, getting your front yard, making that curb appeal look great is so important. I definitely spend time focusing on those things. A lot of people will ask about, oh, should we redo the deck? Should we redo the kitchen? Should we redo the bathroom? You know what? Do the edging on the sidewalk coming up to your home. Put down fresh mulch. Make sure the door is looking fresh and painted. Focus on this because this is the first impression of your home. I had a funny one for the video that I'm doing. It was talking about light fixtures. And if the glass was yellow, if the glass was yellow or it was brass, it's got to go or something like that. All right, so kitchen improvements, 22%. painting. 46% of all sellers do some sort of painting. That is so important to make sure the paint looks fresh. It's
Number
also,
one thing to do.
yeah, and then probably directly followed by carpet. So, yeah, don't really have time to get into all the other fun stats I'd love to go over. But, you know, if you have any questions for us, give us a call, 612-207-5388. Again, 612-207-5388. We'll be back again next week.
Bye, Facebook. I said bye, Facebook.
You did. You did say bye, Facebook. Now you can say bye, Facebook.
Are you ready to close Facebook?
Yep.
Oh, all right.
Bye.
Bye, Facebook.